Hey there, everybody. Pete here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Favorite Guitar Solos. Now, it's September 18th. Who better than to celebrate guitar solos on the 50th anniversary of the day they left this world? Okay, 50 years ago today, Mr. Jimi Hendrix. We lost Jimi Hendrix. So a lot of people talking about Jimi today. Today's a great day to talk about some of his best guitar solos. Almost an impossible episode to do because let's face it, Jimi had the 3 studio albums. Then he passed away. There's a shit ton of live albums. All sorts of albums released after he passed away with all these studio things he was working on and things that have been patched together. Man, the wealth of Jimi Hendrix material for a guy who was only really in the spotlight for a couple of years and only released 3 studio albums, absolutely incredible. So we could sit here and talk for hours about all the great Jimi Hendrix guitar solos on so many of these classic songs. But, you really have to really go and dive in deep to a lot of these live albums because that's where some of the best shit that he ever did was live on stage. There's a lot of genius in the studio albums, but he would take those solos even further live. So what I've done is, like I said, I could have worked on this for weeks on end, but because, I totally forgot that today was the anniversary of his death. I found out about that this morning. I'm like, oh man, I really should put something together for Jimmy's anniversary of his passing. Can't believe it's been 50 years. Holy crap. Amazing. So what I did was I put together a selection of some of my favorite solos from some classic tracks. Some are studio, most are live. Man, this list could change at any time. At any time, the more you kind of think about it, because there's so many great performances. So let's get started here. So I'm going to, let's see here, it's fine. Got my little stack of stuff here. So I'm going to start off at number 10. I'm going to go with, from the Atlanta Pop Festival, also called Freedom, the CD release, which came out a few years ago. All right, this is spectacular stuff. I'm going to go with Stone Free. Okay, a lot of versions of Stone Free that you can check out all over creation. They're all great, obviously. But man, something about the extended, I think it's like 3 minutes, right? He just goes off. It's bluesy, it's jazzy, it's ferocious. I mean, Jimi doing all that Jimi does. And great recording. This whole concert is just absolutely spectacular. He was so on during this particular festival. All sorts of other great tracks on here. You could pick any one of them. Any of these solos and any of these great songs would be perfect fit here. But Stone Free is going to be number 10 for me. There you have that. All right, so coming in at number 9, let me find it here. And I pulled them both. I'm trying to remember which one it was actually from. I think it's actually on both of them. So Purple Haze from Winterland. All right, Winterland out in San Francisco. And I believe, so they played a couple nights during this run, this particular year. And actually, both of these are really good. But here you got 2 CD collections that have a good chunk of what was played over the course of those couple nights. And I don't remember which one. I'm thinking the one I prefer, the one I'm really hinting at, is on this one. Okay, with a really nice jam in it. It's just fantastic. But you know what? Both performances from on these are just absolutely stellar. You can't go wrong. Winterland, Berkeley, Woodstock. I mean, Monterey Pop. Atlanta Pop. Like I said, I mean, there's so many iconic live performances that have been documented from Jimi Hendrix. Just absolutely unbelievable. All right, got to squeeze the Star Spangled Banner on here from Woodstock, right? Got to do it. Got to do it. It's basically like a long, cool solo interpretation of our Star Spangled Banner. It's absolutely iconic, legendary. Jimi just kind of really taken the spirit of what was going on in the world and the country at the time. The gorgeous Star Spangled Banner hymn, right? But with all the tremolo dive bombs and, the specter of the Vietnam War kind of hanging over everything. Just expertly done. I don't think he ever did it better. He played this quite a bit live in those days, but at Woodstock, it was just absolutely memorable, legendary. So Star Spangled Banner coming in at number 8. Coming in, number 7. Let's see. How about the LA Forum concerts? 1969, right? This bad boy right here. I Don't Live Today. Another great song, originally on the first album, Are You Experienced? But absolutely manic and ferocious on this particular live show here. check it out if you haven't. It's amazing. Another great, great live show at the LA Forum. I Don't Live Today. Let's see. Number 6, we're going to go back to Winterland for Hear My Train A-Comin'. Hear My Train. Great stuff. I absolutely love Hear My Train A-Comin'. I think it's one of his greatest songs. Great, heavy blues. And man, the soloing on this particular version from Winterland, he was just dialed in during that Winterland run. And you can feel the solos just coming up through your body, man, just up through your gut. Just amazing. The amount of energy and emotion and the raw, like, kind of primal fury that's going through his fingers, man. Just incredible stuff. Love Hear My Train A-Comin'. One of my favorite versions of it. Great solo on there. All right, so how about let's go back to Woodstock for, I'm going to put these two together because they kind of go together. So after he played Purple Haze, he went to this Woodstock improvisation with all this crazy soloing, and then that moved into Villanova Junction, which is actually tender, kind of jazzy with little bits of flamenco stuff coming in. It's like it's funny how you got that kind of like the ferocious beginning, just him soloing like mad, the wah-wah pedal and all the effects, and then he moves into Villanova Junction and kind of calms things down. It's kind of like signified the end of the festival, right? So just gorgeous stuff. So from Woodstock improvisation and Villanova Junction, right? Okay, so then we're going to go to... I couldn't decide if I wanted to go with the studio or the Winterland version of this, so let me find out which one it's on. So it's on this one here. So I'm talking about Spanish Castle Magic. It's fantastic on... I pulled it wrong up. Axis Bold as Love, not this one. That's Electric Ladyland. The Axis Bold as Love version, the studio version, the original studio version is fantastic. But man, he rips it up at Winterland as well. Spanish Castle Magic, another one of my favorite Hendrix tracks. And man, when he was on, when the band was on, playing that tune, heavy, heavy stuff, dripping with fuzz and feedback, and just like, oh man, just absolutely incredible. All right, so now we're going to go to Electric Ladyland for my number 3. Absolutely, when you think of Jimi Hendrix guitar solos, you don't often think of, like perfectly constructed. He was the kind of guy who would just fed off the energy and the feel more than anything else. But some of the studio tracks are very well put together and really memorable. None more memorable, I don't think, than All on the Watchtower, his interpretation of the old Bob Dylan song on Electric Ladyland. I mean, one of those solos, one of the greatest solos of all time in rock history, where most people know they can actually hum along to it. They can just basically try and, they can do the whole thing, right? Just from memory, because that's how memorable it is. It's almost like a line in the song, right? Like a lyric in the song. It's like that guitar solo is just as iconic as his version of that song, in my opinion. So number 3, All on the Watchtower. Number 2, let's stick on the same album, right? Could have picked any number of live versions of this track, but I think the studio version is just absolutely brilliant. It's just savage. I'm talking about Voodoo Child Slight Return from the Electric Ladyland album, all the way, at the end of the album. It just rips your throat out. Doesn't get much better. Yeah, there's great versions of this at, Berkeley and at Woodstock. I mean, you name it. There's great versions of it all over the place. But even also at the Fillmore East, the Band of Gypsies. But man, something about the original studio version of it. Killer. All right, so in fact, I don't know, why did I not show the Berkeley? Did I not pick a Berkeley track? Well, I didn't. This is great stuff. You know what? Machine Gun is also great on here. I also want, before I get to my number 1, I want to throw a Pass It On Straight Ahead is killer on here. What else? There was something else I wanted to, maybe that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, I don't know. So much great Hendrix stuff. So much great. I knew I pulled that for a reason. I don't know why. Anyway, my number one was the easiest one to put on this list. And I think if you've been following this channel for as long as, I've been doing it, my favorite Hendrix guitar solo of all time is also one of my favorite guitar solos of all time. It's Machine Gun from the Band of Gypsies album. Also recorded at the Fillmore East, New York City, as 1969's moving into 1970. Night number 2, because he played 2 nights, 4 shows there. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Machine Gun, just, again, Hendrix had a way with telling a story with a guitar solo sometimes. And this particular track, you know, it's all about the horrors of the Vietnam War, which was all in a rage at the time. And his guitar solo perfectly exemplified the chaos, the horror, right, the terror, the going on, you know, these poor young soldiers, because most of them were really young, in the jungles of Vietnam with mortars and bombs and explosions going off all around them while they're running around the jungles. And that's the feel you get from listening to this guitar solo. It's like, what, 2.5 minutes long. It just keeps going on and on and on. And it's got, you know, he's got the univibe and the fuzz, right, and the wah-wah, and just, you know, he's yanking on that whammy bar and making all these, you know, dive bombs and, you know, explosions. I mean, it's just absolutely, it just like grabs you and never lets go. I've been listening to Machine Gun from this album for, Christ, 45 years, right? At least, close to it. And I still can put it on today, and it affects me just like it did the first time I heard it. It's just an unbelievable. And what's really incredible is that, you know, that whole weekend, you know, they played a similar set from, you know, from set to set, because they played like an early show and then a late show on throughout the whole weekend. And if you listen to the other versions of Machine Gun from this weekend at the Fillmore East, they're okay, but they don't nearly come close to the genius and the magic that happened on the recording on the second set they played, where you got the version that wound up on this album. It's just you know, it's amazing the difference. He's just absolutely dialed in here, and one of the legendary guitar solos of all time, ladies and gentlemen, of all time. So there you have it. Like I said, we could have made this an hour show talking about all the Hendrix guitar solos and how great they are and stuff, but I wanted to offer up some of my picks, some of my quick picks. I would love to hear what you guys think. Like, what are some of your favorite Jimi Hendrix guitar solos, studio or live, what have you? It doesn't really matter, right? I think today is a day. Let's celebrate Jimmy a little bit, right? Remember the greatness that was Jimi Hendrix on the anniversary of his death 50 years ago today. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. Jason, I hope you're watching. I wore your shirt today, Mr. Morris, so there you go. See you guys later on, all right? Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.